There are some places in the world where you come and a feeling of comfort settles upon you. This is what I feel when I come to Diyabubula, Barbarine's art and jungle hideaway. I didn't pay real attention to nature and the importance of preserving it until Lucky invited us to his wall-less abode, and the professors of botany started developing the Barberine Beach Herbal Trail. But even if we are not environmentalists and use paper without thought, the forest has a particular feel to it. And it is a tangible feeling, particularly for Millie and me, when we come from Barberine Beach with its vast spaces, the views of the ocean, and the huge skies. The first astonishing sight that greets you at Diyabubula is the outsize horse. It would have been incongruous if anyone else but Lucky had designed it. And as we enter the Diyabubula lodge, you get the first glimpse of Lucky's artwork. Warm, orange-hued owl awaits you. And then the butterfly. Flo's hand-cut granite stone, whitewashed walls. Each artwork sits comfortably in the spaces that Lucky has created in this art and jungle lodge. Lucky insisted that he needed 2,000 railway sleepers, wood seasoned in the sun and the rain for over a century, before he would even start designing his work. Rustic on the outside, sleek and elegant within, Lucky kept his promise and made 5 living spaces, 3 water villas, a bamboo grove with a translucent roof, a tree house with living rafters of arecanut trees. In building the lodge, I had to work with this bohemian artist and my conservative brother Manik, reporting, getting advice, getting Manik to visit. And when he viewed the final product, he walked all around several times, sat down and said, "This is a work of art." And so it is. In this sylvan glade, 3 water villas, each one secluded but still giving a sense of security. The trees seem to have stood there since the beginning of time. Inside the water villas, glass windows bring the forest in. When I'm here, I try to catch some time in the afternoon to lie in bed and see the changing light. And if I fall asleep, I am awakened by Lucky's 4 p.m. music, eclectic, which comes from round the water villas, from the forest, from everywhere from the forest. I watch the digital art from the floor to the ceiling, varying designs in the different villas, chandeliers of brass and gold leaf, in leaf designs, red, green, blue, beautiful domes, furniture designed by Lucky and executed by the Berberine carpenters, rugs he had hand-picked. It is a project to which Lucky devoted himself for over 2 years. And now we will go over to Lucky's abode. And he had told me, of course, I kept the best part of the land for myself, to sit in his terrace and have a conversation along with Professor Piyal Marasinghe, our specialist in medicinal plants and flora and fauna. So bear with us for a little while until we change our location. Ayubowan. So it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon and we are seated in Lucky's terrace. Lucky Senanayaka, whom you all know, and Professor Piyal Marasinghe, whom we have introduced you earlier with Berberine Beach and the nature trails, who is our favorite professor. And today is a special occasion because together we will share with you some of their insights into art and sculpture and biodiversity, this jazz word about biodiversity.
Yeah.
And so, Lucky, to begin with, you have told me that when I once told you we should have a gallery, you said, why would I have a gallery, my dear, because this is my gallery. So tell us about your open air gallery at Diyabubula.
It's a place I live in, my dear, and as you can see, it has a house that has no walls or doors, and therefore the birds and the animals, including kabargoyas and monkeys, walk through the house. You have to see that happening. Sometimes 20 monkeys are inside the house. When I'm not here. So, in biodiversity, total. Let's say kabargoyas go into the sink because there's food in the sink, you know. So we have a whole lot of different animals, including Diyabubula, my dear otters. Wonderful. They come into this river and they catch the fish. We are growing fish for the kingfishers and the Diyabulas and the kabargoyas and all the things that so we are actually growing fish. So all these big lakes you see here are full of fish, you know. Unfortunately, PI, the problem is this. After Mahavali started up, they put in tilapia, and that's a very invasive fish, you know. And we had plenty of lulas and hungas and magruas and in the water here, very good to eat. When the tilapia came in, almost all of those vanished. Within 5 years, none of the original fish were left here. And you get plenty of tilapia, which is also, I'm told, now quite expensive. So now I'm starting to grow tilapia here.
Yeah, okay.
So, but any case, now I have my own gallery. You've been there?
Yes,
no?
I've been there.
Yeah, it's called the Square Foot Gallery, where art is sold like you get cloth by the square foot. This is not this mad thing of prices going up like that. It's sold by the square foot. And the thing is, most of my friends, they are not rich. They can't afford to buy paintings at 80,000 rupees and 100,000 rupees original painting. So instead, I do a whole lot of digital prints that are much cheaper. And so they are happy to buy these cheap prints because in any case, when you look at a print, you are seeing the visual thing in front of your eyes, whether it's a print or not. Some people don't know if it's a print or not. It's just good to the eyes, you know. So now that's what I'm doing. I'm selling art cheap.
You told me.
Unfortunately, none of your guests are coming to my
I know, that's right. So when our guests start coming, they'll be really thrilled because they always wanted to have a piece of your art, digital or not. So, but I suppose not all artists appreciate this square foot gallery and yardage.
They want to earn a lot of money. There was a wonderful Japanese artist many years ago who painted, and he only painted vegetables, you know, cabbages and carrots and all, and he used to sell it in the polo at the same price as the vegetable. So those are genuine artists.
Yeah, yes.
The cabbage or so much, he's painting on the cabbage also the same price.
Yeah. So, Professor, tell us about your understanding of biodiversity. What is biodiversity generally for those of us who are uninitiated?
Yeah. The diversity of nature. So Diyabubula is one of the best places in Sri Lanka to learn, to feel about the nature, the variation of biodiversity. So we can divide floral diversity, the plants. Among plants there are a lot of variations as well as animals. Here because of water and trees are there, the birds are coming, especially dragonflies. This is the best.
Yeah, wonderful, the dragonflies that come here.
Yeah, various dragonflies here. In Sri Lanka we have about 117, 18 dragonflies. Here I think more than 50 dragonflies you can spot.
Yeah. But you know what I'm wondering? Now, every now and then I see them, they fly at high speed. Then suddenly, chung, they hit the water and go off. Now, they're not trying to lay eggs in the water. No, they lay eggs on the edge by some weeds. But I see them the whole time they are flying around and suddenly, chick, they go into the water, not in. They just skim the water and come off. What are they doing?
Some female dragonflies, sometimes directly,
Yeah.
they can.
Lay in the water.
Yes.
So fast?
Yes. So,
They hit the water, they lay their eggs and they go off.
yeah. But
I
the
didn't know that. That's what I was wondering.
yeah, the small fellows are living inside the water, and they can swim. And
I know they're terrible. We used to have fish. They go and cling to the fish and they suck all the body fluids out of the fish, and the fish dies. They are carnivorous. You know, and they're quite big. I have seen them. We had this water. I was wondering, what is this guy going inside? I didn't know it was a feed for the dragonflies. But later I found that they are the guys, they hang on to the fish and quietly suck out all the moisture from the poor fish and the fish dies.
So the dragonflies are carnivorous.
100% carnivorous.
Yeah.
So that the small stage, they can eat the mosquito larva,
Yes.
and they are mosquito killers.
Very good.
And they help to control insects in the field, agricultural fields. So very helpful insects, dragonflies are.
And so are calamedrias, what you
Yeah.
call, what are calamedrias are called? Fireflies. no?
Fireflies.
Now I thought for a long time they are eating tiny vegetable fruits. I checked up on Google, they are carnivores. They eat all the tiny mites on the leaves. They are not eating the leaves. They are actually carnivores. I used to find suddenly, in the middle of the night, I have the net. And I look up and there are hundreds of mosquitoes on the outside of the net. So I'm wondering, what are they coming to eat? I mean, what are they going to eat? They're eating dust mites.
The mosquitoes are eating dust
No,
mites.
the
The
calamedrias.
calamedrias are eating
So
dust mites.
calamedrias, Biodiversity,
The fireflies.
They are carnivores.
Oh. So,
Yes.
so tell us about the flora that you see, the wonderful range of trees and creepers and plants. So, Lucky,
Yeah.
this is a kind of, I describe this as a planned, unplanned forest. Tell us about how you
By the way, it was
constructed
originally
it.
a China cultivated slash and burn Mudubima. And hardly any of the trees that you see here were here. These I'm talking of 1971. And we were growing Bombay onions and chilies and stuff. And completely flat, there was 45 coconut trees which I don't like, so I cut them all down. But after about 5 years, you couldn't earn enough money from agriculture. And I went back to painting and art and all. So in that time, we started growing the trees back. So this is a good example. We have 5 acres of land, fortunately plenty of water. In about 30 years, we have a farm. There's nothing else forested around here but this. So all the animals, itabos, all sorts of things come to this place where there is water and there is protection and we don't kill anything. And they're having a happy time.
So now, tell us about your sculpture. Now tell us about this sculpture, which I think we can
Everyone
capture.
knows it's a horse.
I know, but why did you make it like this then?
I
What
don't
could you tell about it? Do you think about
no,
it?
my
or-
dear, from the time I was small, I was mad about horses, trains, butterflies, all sorts of things they were crazy about, So I used to watch in Colombo, the police go on horses.
Yes.
So I used to watch the horses move and how the legs are, how the leg is articulated. Otherwise you don't know how the ankle and this and how it works. So in all my animals that I have done, I used to go to the zoo and watch them to see how they were built, like building architecture. You don't know that you can build a horse, but it won't look proper because it's not designed properly. So that comes from like a child, being curious. Like butterflies and moths. I was mad about butterflies and moths and birds and it. We lived on a estate in Madampe when I was 4 or 5. Madampe Chiraudat area and full of animals of all sorts, including crocodiles and things like that. So I grew up in that. Every morning, my younger brother and I, my mother used to give us breakfast and chase us out of the house. Now, they don't know where we are. It's a 200-acre estate. We are loafing all over the place with polangas and cobras and all sorts of things. And nothing ever happened to us.
And so, to be an artist, I mean, you would need, first of all, a curious mind.
But all children have curious minds until the parents get hold of them and put them in school and that's the end of the mind. That's what happened. I know, I used to teach children in art classes of Cora
Abrahams.
By the time they go to school, all the art vanishes because they are now made to sit and, their minds are put into a block. So useless. So I think I have survived being a child and not paying attention to school. So I escaped school. I was last in the class and I didn't care about school. So in a way I have escaped being caught in that mold of not being curious. Now you ask many children, what about the stars? Most children haven't looked at the sky, my dear. They don't know what the hell is happening up in the sky. Now in school, do they teach you about the stars and things at all?
So I suppose to nurture these creative talents in a child, you should also nurture their curiosity and make them imagine and think. What would you do?
I would let children alone. If you start trying to nurture them to do this or that, it's the same like school. Getting a whole lot of children together, say now you go to the zoo, whole lot of children come to the zoo and they come with exercise books. I'm in the zoo painting. And the teacher says, okay, look at the zebra, and they write zebra. Then they are writing down the names. They are not looking at the zebra and seeing what a wonderful creature it is. It's a whole. If I was Minister of Education or the President, I would have closed schools completely. Schools are really for how to keep children, because parents are going to work, how to keep them in a position where they won't,
trouble them.
It's nothing to do with education. You ask the children, the parents, why do you send your children to school? You have to learn culture, this and that. Absolute rubbish. All they are doing is sending them so that they can be looked after. There are other ways of looking after children than putting them all into a small room with a desk and sitting them down.
So this is, by the way, Lucky's worldview on education. And Lucky...
I didn't send my daughter to school.
Yes.
Because I thought it's a waste of time. She was here till she was 7 years old and had a great time here.
Yes. And in fact, Lucky, in one of his books, the Book of Owls, describes himself and says, anyone who is someone will know Lucky. He is an amiable old man who studied at Royal College in absentia. And I thought that was hilarious.
You know what happened? My mother was a member of parliament for Kiriala, that's deep in the Singharaja colony. Now I was the only male child, the other two were going to university. She used to take me because she was a woman, traveling. So she used to take me, I would have been 10 or something, to go into Singarada and all with her. So she used to give me leave from school, saying, my child has broken a foot or is this measles or something, excuse letter to school. So most of the time I was not indoors. The teachers hardly knew me, because most of the time I was away from school. I was lucky, my dear, to escape school.
I don't know whether this is advice that we can give our guests who have children.
No, I tell them all. I mean, don't waste your children's time trying to ask them to do this or that. Children will actually learn what to do.
So, Lucky,
Yes,
today we would like to look at a couple of your sculptures.
yes,
You talked about this horse.
Yes.
Then you have that wonderful, enormous horse at the entrance.
yeah, yeah.
What inspired you to make
So
that
that
horse?
was a commission
Mhm.
for Mr. Nadesan, who has a big piece of land in Nilavadi. And I was doing a sculpture garden for him.
Yeah.
So right at the end of the land ends on the sea.
Yes.
So with this huge tree, I thought a huge horse with the sun and the moon rising would look wonderful. Okay. So he financed it, and I did this lovely silver horse. So before I did that, I thought, now I need to have a horse here. So the first one I did for myself here. The next one, these are like a, just check that it works. The next one I did is now in Nilavadi and Shukbeti, really wonderful, 25 feet high. No one knows why it is there. It's right in the middle of, at the end of a forest. And people go on the beach, suddenly say, you don't say, what, how did this horse come here?
And
For the
Lucky,
first, yeah.
what about that horse? In fact, that's one of the most photographed
It's
pieces.
the same sculpture as this.
Uh-huh.
Here, here.
But what is different to it? Can I turn you
Yeah,
around?
no, it's the same sculpture. It's patterned differently. You know, I don't want to make the same sculpture. So when
So,
I do it,
what do you mean pattern differently?
You
It's
see,
the-
there are now in this there are creepers and plants.
Yes.
On that it's like triangles and patterns, geometric patterns, and they are those are made in gold leaf so that it shines. It's the only thing that doesn't get oxidized. So while the rest of it goes dark, the patterns shine so you can see the shape. Otherwise, like you see this sculpture here, the horse. Now that was made in brass as a cockbird. It was made in brass and must be 20 years old, but now oxidizations are all gone. The shine is gone. The brass loses its oxidization thing, no?
So gold leaf remains.
Oh, that's why people buy gold.
So
It doesn't oxidize.
so in your sculptures,
Yeah.
you often have, even if it's brass or copper,
yeah.
you have a little gold leaf also.
Depends on the sculpture itself. I like things that just grow old and look
Yeah.
that way also. But especially when things are far off and you want to see the pattern, then I use gold and silver leaves and various other things. But that is my favorite sculpture.
Yes,
The
the
tree, the rain
Rain tree.
This is what you call Pithecanthropum saman. The Mara tree. Now, many years ago, there was a wonderful piece of music by a Japanese composer called Toro Takemitsu called the rain tree. Because when it rains, after the rain stops, for about 2-3 hours you get drips of water from the leaves. So it was called the rain tree, because everywhere after the rain has stopped, for another 2-3 hours you get drips of water coming, and it did this lovely piece of music for it. So I heard this 40 years ago,
Yeah.
but it's still in my mind, and one day I thought, now, because I wanted some sculpture, so I said, let's do the rain tree here, and there it is. It took about 2 months to make it and put it there, but it's my favorite sculpture.
And you told me that you made something new when I came
Yeah,
today.
now it has, I have to work it out, but it has bubbles of air going through when you put the motor on, it's in a thin tube, so it's water going through it, but from the aerators from aquariums, you inject air into it. So those slide along and they, in the sun and all, they look silvery. You see the whole thing is these bubbles going up and down and up and down like this. It's like sort of magical quality to it. And I'm hoping now in the night to light it up so that you see the bubbles even better.
And so, tell us, how do you conceptualize a sculpture like
I
that?
don't conceptualize
Then
it.
how do you do it?
The whole thing about art is conception. What we do, everything we are doing, we are conceptualizing. So I don't know why they think of it. It's a common thing that we do. When you think of, if you have an idea, that is a concept.
Yes.
You can have crazy ideas and good ideas and to make penicillin and all sorts of things. Those are all, you start by thinking, well, if we do this, something will happen from it. That's the concept. So I don't know why people worry about concept.
Yes, but you know.
Advertising, the whole time they're using conceptualize. Most people don't understand what conceptualize means even.
Yes, in fact, I remember Dharmasiri Senanayaka told about my father.
Yeah.
He said when he first started Barbary in Reef, he told some of his officers, go and meet him and find out what this concept is. And his officers had come back and told him, Mr. Rodrigo said that his concept is no concept. And Dharmasiri Senanayaka, who was the Minister of Tourism, has said, that's the guy I want to support. And they became very, very good friends. But for an artist, because lucky there are lots of artists who like to listen to you.
First thing is, I don't claim to be an artist. I'll tell you why. Artists are people of integrity. They are serious about their work. They are not playing the fool. Most of the time I am doing art so that I can earn money, right? So I think of myself like an artisan. Person who makes pot, he makes the same pot 20 times. He is not thinking about art as saying, I'm going to make original something. No. I am like them. When I make sculpture, I make 20 of the same sculpture. So I am really an artisan, like a carpenter or any of those things. I disclaim to being an artist. I don't think it's a good thing. There's a whole lot of rubbish about art. You don't pay attention to it.
But now this particular piece, so do you do a drawing of it?
No.
How do you instruct, how do you execute it?
Wait, let me tell you. First thing in this thing, you're making a tree. Now, how to make it stand up? Now, if I use the big pipes at the bottom, if they were metal pipes like galvanized iron pipes, you can heat them up and twist them, but it costs a lot to take a straight thing and to heat it without bending it and make it into shape. So I thought about that and think, now can't do it like that. I can't afford to do it. So I thought, okay, PVC pipe. If you fill PVC pipe with hot water, you can bend it, right? Now that's what you would call a concept, thinking of how this can work. So all those shapes are made with hot water, bent into shape, and each fitted to the next, so it's a curve. So you see all the shape is the same, but it goes round in a curve. When that is a curve, it's strong. Right, so then it won't bend, even though it's PVC, it's there for 2 years, nothing will happen to it. So that is, once I worked that out, then I figured, okay, now these are how we are going to do it. So I got these together, made carries and fitted it together, one by one, worked the whole thing out. But each one is, you think how to do it. You don't have the solution. You think this is how you can do it. So you try it out. If that doesn't work, you try out another one. Now we must show him the illustrations of the currency note, which has a lot of interesting butterflies. of which I have one, what is called, it's called a paper fly. It floats like quite
Oh, yeah.
idea something or other.
Yeah, there is a tree nymph.
Tree nymph, that's the one. Tree nymph.
Beautiful.
It grows here. Though I don't know what is the food plant. I have never seen but it's here quite often. It's usually just floating like a piece of paper on the thing, you know.
Gonucavel. Gonucavel is the host plant.
Gonucavel.
Hoya olefolia. So that plant is used for medicine.
Yeah, Gonucavel. Yeah, but it must be here, but I see them quite often floating. Beautiful the way they float. Now that's on the 100 rupee note. You know, so I did. And the other thing I did was the Tamil lace wing.
Yeah, that is also a very beautiful butterfly.
Yeah. And also another dry zone butterfly. I forget these names, I think. But they're there. So I think you must be taking a photograph of all these things.
I don't.
Okay. I'm bringing out a book called Sri Lanka, the endemic species of flora and fauna illustrated in currency notes. I did this series of currency notes, either 80 or something. Instead of painting these politicians, I told him, look, I am going to do only the endemic species. You get frogs, snakes, all this. There's wonderful Hicanella, which is arboreal Hicanella. Grows on trees, I can't remember the name. But they are all on that. And one amazing thing, my dear, I was looking for a gecko called Gymnodactylus jacura, right? Because it has a red spot on the back. And I was working in the field in Lower. Remember, there was an old log which I moved the log aside. There was a Una right underneath. Very difficult fight. It was found first in Mulati or somewhere, and later in Diyabubula. So I knew so you wrote on reptiles, Jernagala, it's there. So I knew if it is Diyabubula, I said there is luck that I might find. Beautiful it was, and it has a, what you call a prehensile tail. It can wrap its tail around your finger. Most geckos don't do that, you know. And that's on the 5 rupee note. So those are very valuable from the point of view for us who want to know about endemic species, including trees and butterflies and birds.
Okay, Lucky. So
Okay, my dear.
thank you so much
Yes.
for all your ideas and what happened. That yes.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Same as me.
Come,
Thank you very much.
When you're free from all these people and come and spend a couple of days with me here.
Thanks.
We can have a good chat.
Thank you very much.
This is not a heart-to-heart chat, obviously.
No, we are into the same thing.
Yes, of course. So, thank you very much,
Yeah,
Lucky, and thank you, Professor. And to all our guests, thank you very much for joining. And we will continue. After this, we will move with the Professor to another part so that we can continue in a more practical, tangible way.
So, Professor, now that we are here in the nature at Diyabubula, can you explain me in a very simple and practical way what biodiversity is?
Biodiversity means the diversity of the nature. So in the nature, plants are there, animals and other living creatures. So Diyabubula is one of the best hot spots of biodiversity in Sri Lanka. We can see plants. Under the plants also we can classify. For an example, we can see this lovely plant. We can see this is a climber. The plant is climbing to another tree. So this plant is very important medicinal plant. The fruits are used for making Ayurvedic medicine. It's very good for the digestible system and it improves the blood circulation and all. So comparing the other plants, this little bamboo, you can see the different or the variation that is called biodiversity. So here you can see lovely birds, butterflies, and I think you have heard all the butterflies, they select a specific plant to lay eggs. This medicinal plant, this is known as Emblia ribes in botanically. So Valangasal in our Ayurvedic term. So this is one of the host plants for butterflies also. There is a small beautiful butterfly, Plum Judy, the butterfly's name. So that mother of Plum Judy is coming to lay eggs to this plant. That's why it is called hot spots of biodiversity in Sri Lanka, our Diyabubula Nature Resort.
Look at this tree house, Professor. How lucky have used a tree to make it. Can you see?
Yeah, actually tree house is a very popular spot of Diyabubula. So lucky used these arms to support the roof of the house. These farms are very popular in Sri Lanka, and I think you have heard about chewing of beetles. There is a nut used with the beetle leaves to chew by Sri Lankans. So this is that palm. So the ripe fruits are collected, and inside of the fruit only single seed is there. That seed is used for beetle preparation. So this is called beetle nut palm or erica nut. Erica nut is a popular name for this plant. So these palms are supporting for the tree house. So using these palms or any tree for this type of nature constructions, again the production of manufacturing of oxygen for us, and the shade it used by people, some food values are there, and the nuts are very good for the controlling microbiomes or bacteria, and antibiotic effects also are there. So this is very nice example for nature construction.
Actually, yes, one of my favorite room, apart from the bamboo grove room, this is the second choice for me when I come to Diyabubula. Thank you very much, Professor Pierre, for coming all the way and share your valuable time and knowledge with us. And thank you, dear guests, for joining. And we hope to see you soon. And also we are continuing our webinars during next month. So hope that you will join again, and wish you a happy Sunday. Ayubowan.